So what's your question?
So, hi, Sheena. I'm Kay.
Is it proper interview here? Okay, fine.
So-
Hi, Kay.
So, I first saw you in a YouTube video, and right away I said, I want her to teach me without thinking about my SLA or, schedule. So, I was impressed with the fact that you're the first the first IEN who didn't need to do a bridging or courses.
There might be some, I don't know, but I was just told by that.
But that statement has already lined me up to approach you. So my thinking was, if everybody was told that every IEN will have to do a bridging or like courses or reentry, how did you go about that to achieve no no bridging, no gaps?
So I think first we have to distinguish the process now is different from the
Oh,
process
yes,
before.
yes. So this was 2020.
2020, 21, 22, and they did improve some, they did some improvements around 22, 23, 24, right? But during my time, most of the INs were told you have to do the bridging course, re-entry, or courses and receptorship hours. So to answer your question, what did I do? I think your question earlier was, what made me decide or
Challenge what they say, because every career counselor would say, oh, as an IEN, you have gaps, so you have to do bridging, re-entry, or courses for receptorship.
First, I took it as a challenge, not for others, but for myself. I think you have to have the courage to say and do. And sometimes it takes sacrifice, right? So my sacrifice was taking time off work. My sacrifice was studying hours or, spending time to really brush up on things or topics that I'm not familiar with. And making the time. Like, I've always been a hard worker.
I see that.
So when I'm not very good with studying. I don't like reading so much. So I don't stick to one review material. When I was doing my review, I kind of like incorporate whatever quick facts that I can do, but I also approach it in a way that I'm studying as someone who's going through that disease process, for example.
And you've shared to me the way that you study, and it's very effective. And you studied for 3 weeks for your NCAS.
Right. It's effective for me. We all have different studying styles. For me, I don't just watch YouTube videos, for example. I have to sit down, write things down, especially things that I'm not familiar with or things that are new for me. If I don't do that, then I might forget, because I tend to forget things. And another thing is, I don't just limit my studying based on the material that I have or the resources that I have. That's why I always tell my mentees like you, I always say, whatever material we provide you with that's not exhaustive, if there's anything in that material that you think, oh, I need more, I need to learn more on this, then you have to take the time to discover those, right? To research those.
Thank you, Sheena. I'm going to take the life cycle journey as my key learning.
Yeah, it seems like you like that one.
Yes. It's going to help me a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. But how did you decide that you want to bypass what's there? Like, no bridging, no...
It's not my decision to bypass. It's my goal.
Your goal.
It was my goal.
Yeah.
I think we cannot bypass anything if it's something that should be there for safety reasons.
Okay.
And I'm not... Honestly, because I'm coming from a different perspective. So I'm coming from a perspective of an IN.
Yes.
But I'm also coming from a perspective of accreditation standards, because that was my kind of like my forte, right? Like
yes. You audit.
yeah, I audit. I worked with accreditations before. So standard is actually not the highest requirement. Standard is actually a minimum requirement. So when we say standard, that's the minimum requirement to pass. And if you cannot reach the minimum, then it means you're not a safe nurse, clinician, or practitioner, right? And so I'm coming at it into different views. I'm not coming and restricting myself. Oh, I'm not in the end. I feel hurt. I feel bad. I feel condemned. I feel I'm belittled. Oh, sorry, that's my alarm.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I feel belittled. I feel injustice. No, I had those feelings. I felt like, why do I have to go through all these things? But then at the end of the day, that's the process though. You have to go through the process, right? You cannot say, oh, in my country, we don't do this. Well, that was in your country. You're in a different country. You're in a different jurisdiction. You have to learn to follow the procedure or the process that they have in place. But at the same time, for me, I'm coming from the lens of patient safety accreditation, great quality care. And so I also know that we're not compromising patient safety, public safety, because they can always give you your license.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. But if you're not safe, they can always take it from you. And at the same time, you can land in jail. You can kill people. You are in a caring industry. Life is at stake. So what may be working in other countries may not work here because they have different regulations. They have different laws, right? We have to learn to comply with what they're asking us to do. It may feel a little bit unjustified for some that you have to go through all this lengthy assessment, especially if it's expensive, it's time consuming. I understand that, so I still believe that there's a way to improve.
For sure.
Yeah, I think there's a process that needs a little bit of improvement. And I'm up for that. I hope we can make some improvement on how we integrate IANs. But it's a systemic change we're after. It's a system. It's kind of like an overhaul or a transformation, and that cannot be done by one person alone. That cannot be done by a group of people alone. It's actually, a whole system transformation that needs to be done. And sometimes there might be some roadblocks, right? Like, for example, let's talk about international educated nurses. You're not just dealing with licensure, you're dealing with immigration too.
For sure.
And immigration has their own requirements, licensure has their own requirements. And sometimes they may not complement each other. Sometimes they may clash, but sometimes they may also be some aspects that can be translated to the other, right? But it's not a one size fits all solution. It's not an easy system. It's quite complex actually. So I understand the challenges of IANS, and that's why I'm doing this work. But I also understand the regulatory requirement or the safety standard that we need to make sure we need to maintain and not compromise. Is there a better way of doing things? Yes, for sure.
Yeah, you proved it.
But no, I mean.
Oh, now?
I think as a system, there's a better way of doing that, but it may take time, right? And it takes resources. Resources, when you say resources, not just time, it's also money, right? It's also manpower.
For sure, yeah.
So most of the IANs that I have, for example, I'll give you an example. Last April, I was in Parksville. I met with one of my previous mentees. She's now a nurse.
Wow.
And she told me that when she was going through the process, she didn't understand why she had to go through. But now that she's working as an RN, that's when she realized that, yeah, I should have gone through that, because now I understand that it's a different system and I should not compromise patient safety and care. So they would say, yeah, they understood. But when you're going through the process, it's painful, it's difficult. But once you've bridged to the other side, you'd appreciate why. And I think that's also our journey in life. Sometimes we don't understand
Yes.
why we're having this difficulty, why we're being tested, right? And then when we're on the other side, we look back. Oh, that was for my growth. Oh, that taught me patience. Oh, that taught me faith. Oh, that taught me strength. What strength means. Sometimes we don't think about these things, but when you look back in life and reflect. And nursing, we need reflection, right? We need to practice reflection.
A lot.
A lot of it, yeah. That's when we realize, oh, it was for my good.
Okay. So why IEN to RN?
What do you mean?
Like, how did you choose
Why the
to work?
name?
No, how did you choose to work this or give this or like make this?
Back in, so I've always been like an unofficial mentor before, right? With my previous roles. But I had to RN formally.
Yeah.
It was part of All Care Nursing, and it started when one IAN actually messaged me.
Okay.
Asking for mentorship.
Okay.
She said, my SLA is a week from now. Yeah. I live in Kuala Beach.
Is this people, you know them?
No, I didn't know them. She reached out to me via YouTube.
Oh, because of your YouTube.
Honestly, I'm an introvert person. I'm an introvert. I don't like being out in the public, and I actually feel drained sometimes. That's why my YouTube videos are not fully updated, because
I think you just need an editor because you have lots of videos.
Yeah, but also at the same time, I actually love being alone. I love my...
Thank you for switching on your time with me.
I love my peace and quiet. And so, the reason why I had a YouTube video was because when I was practicing, those were the recordings I had before when I was preparing for my own SLA. And so I just uploaded it and then forgot about it. And so if you look at the original videos, there was a big gap in between those original videos and the recent videos. So it just uploaded, didn't bother, or I didn't know that it was gaining traction. It's not a big following as well, right? And
I've forwarded your videos to every nurse I know.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. So much pressure.
No. Not just people in nurses in Canada, but in Saudi, in Philippines.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I told you the practice is different.
The practice is different for sure. And if they are trained here and they go to, let's say, India or the Philippines or Hong Kong or China or wherever, even in the US, let's say, the practice is also different. Right? They also have to learn the system. They also have to learn how things are being done in those countries.
Your accent, your UK accent sometimes gets out into the videos. I'm like, I better tell Sheena this. I know it's not intentional, but her British accent just got out.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, I think. Sometimes, so when I first moved here, I felt like I was being bullied in a way. Not in a fun way, but people would say, water. And then when I was going through my practice as well, there were some people that thought that I was doing it on purpose, but it's just coming up.
But you worked in UK. Are we good?
Yeah.
I don't want to
actually, I want to do another scenario.
Yeah, okay.
It's okay. I think there's too much for you today. What do you think?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I'm looking at you and I feel like you're kind of a little bit...
I wanted to shout earlier. I wanted to cry. But I don't know if I'm allowed to do that in my actual SLA.
No, you're not too. You might
I did tell you. I wanted to cry. Right? I was almost going to cry. Because when you said, you're not approaching it right. Or did you say, you're not
You're not in the right track.
We're not in the right track. I wanted to say the F word, and I said, what am I going to do?
Yeah, so it's good that you stop yourself. So emotional regulation is very important. The thing is, at the end of the day, one of the competencies that you're being assessed for is professionalism. And professionalism is very important before, during, and even after your assessment, right? How you carry yourself. If you're around friends or people that you consider as friends or family, you don't need to be like really professional.
Okay.
But if you're around coworkers or people that you're not friends with, it's best to stick with being professional. Sometimes I also learn my lessons the hard way because I tend to trust people easily and I tend to let my guard down.
Yeah.
But
knock on wood.
Yeah.
If it happens, can I excuse myself for a minute?
In your clinical practice or in your SLA or
my SLA.
Again, that's still part of your 20 minutes. I mean,
but like if I know that I'm already on the verge of just bursting.
Yeah, you can say
it's not because I'm angry or anything. It's just my nerves, right?
Your nerves. Okay, so when that happens, you just have to communicate that.
Okay.
Right? You can. Again, I told you, if you need to spend time to think things through, you can.
Okay.
So it's all within the 20 minutes, though. You can't pause the time. But I'd rather that you learn how to regulate your emotions.
I feel like, Sheena, there's some part of my life that I've become very, very, let's just say emotional, that I at least have to wash my face with cold water.
Okay.
So that means I have to get myself out of the... I don't want to do it in front of...
I don't think they will allow you to do that. If they would, they might ask someone to accompany you to the washroom. Because
you're telling me now it's better for me to know how to regulate my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
That's also a learning I have to do in these next 7 days.
Mm-hmm. It's hard when you're undoing things and you've already reached a certain season in life, right?
Yes. Thank you for not saying I'm old.
No. But we all have things to improve on, and we all have things to learn, relearn, unlearn, right? And that goes back to nursing again. Like, unlearn the bad things, the bad habits, the shortcuts that you've learned before. You have to unlearn that, let go of them, and you have to adapt to what is the best practice or the wise practices here, right? And what's the current evidence, for example, that you're gonna employ when you care for your patients. So yeah, remember the saline?
Mm-hmm.
You have to unlearn that.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. Wound care.
Mm.
Because I have to do it for real.
Okay.
Give me, I know I'm being anal about this, but how much time should I devote to that? Because there's only 20 minutes.
My expectation for myself is different from what your expectation is for yourself.
Okay, yeah.
And I think you need more practice in order to say, I can do this in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Or in order to say, I can do this in 10 minutes.
Okay. Because before wound care, I have to do my assessment.
Yeah.
And already I'm telling you.
And you don't know. You might not need to do wound care. I don't know. Because we don't know what scenario you're going to have, right? So there might not be a requirement to do wound care. Besides, you don't know what kind of wound you're going to be caring for. It can be a small ulcer. It can be a post-op wound. It can be a laceration.
Mm-hmm.
It can just be a small skin tear. We don't know that. So timing, that's why I'm not, sorry, I have to, remember we talked about timing earlier. I don't want you to be anal or rigid with timing because it varies. And sometimes it may look like a small procedure. Let's say it's just a small skin tear. I just need to, bandage this, for example. But then something comes up with your patient. Patient refuses, patient doesn't want to do it, patient wants to do something else, or you have to do something else instead. So it can prolong it, right? So don't be too strict with the time.
Okay, okay. I want to listen one more time to breath sounds and
Oh yeah,
heart
we can do
sounds.
that. Yeah.
Um, that way, although you've told me that they don't expect me to actually say, or I can confirm with them.
What do you mean?
The examiner. Like if I say, I'm going to try, like Mr. Smith, I'm going to try to listen to your heart sounds again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking it's between crackles and rockeye, and then I have a chance to ask for confirmation.
You can ask, yeah. But don't expect that they will answer you.
Okay, all right.
They may answer you, they may not answer you. It's their discretion.
Okay.
Right? It's their prerogative. They might also tell you proceed.
Okay, so proceed is good for me. I take that as a goal.
As a go signal to don't dwell on that.
Yeah. But unsafe, that's something I have to address.
Unsafe is something you have to make sure you reflect on, analyze before you address.
Okay.
Addressing means taking the time to think what is not safe here. Don't just, oh, I'm safe, unsafe, I'll try this one. Because what if that's also unsafe?
Mm-hmm.
So don't rush. Don't rush. I know 20 minutes is short and sometimes it feels like a breeze when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're 100% sure that what you're doing is right or you're able to demonstrate.
But I don't think I will even have a hint or like in my back burner. I don't think I want to question why it's unsafe.
Why not?
No, I mean like if the examiner already said unsafe, like I'm not gonna ask the examiner what's unsafe.
Why will you ask the examiner? They
That's
won't
why.
tell you why.
I know, that's why I have to learn this, that I have to, like you said, reflect and then
think for yourself what's unsafe in what I'm doing. Just like the example we had earlier when I told you were unsafe. You didn't acknowledge that. You didn't even think what's unsafe.
Okay.
So if you pause, what's unsafe, then you would have known that, oh, actually, I have to put it under the tongue, not on top of it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So you have to, what's unsafe?
Okay.
Don't let it rattle you.
And you're telling me don't rush. It's gonna help me in my actual skills lab. Because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm like, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next?
So whenever I mentor my previous mentees, as you know, I'm quite demanding, right? Like
You're very nice, actually. I've met more.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I want you guys to do well. And sometimes I will say, you're not maximizing your time. You have to learn to organize your approach, maximize your time. So yes, you have to take your time, but taking your time doesn't mean you have to waste your time.
Okay, don't waste my time.
Yeah. Because don't just dilly-dally and waste it for nothing.
Okay.
Every minute, every second counts. Because that's your opportunity to showcase your knowledge, skills, and competencies.
Okay, yeah. Yes, thank you. All right. Okay, I'm gonna stand down. Thank you, Sheena, for the interview. First of all, I want to thank you because I know it was out of your schedule 2 of these days.
Well, I want you to do well.
I am promising I will do my best. I don't know if that's well or emergent.
No, you have to do your best. So that's a good answer because I don't like it when people say, I'll try my best.
I'll do my best.
I'll try my best means you're not doing your best.